In today's video, we have something different. We bring you unusual video footage from the deepest parts of the internet. All of these videos are unbelievable, yet interesting. So, let's begin. Turkey death dance. Starting with a pretty unusual video. In 2017, a Boston man encountered a terrifying sight. There was a dead cat in the middle of the road. What made it so unsettling was the circle of turkeys marching around the corpse. Each bird followed the one walking in front of it. That was the other thing. All the turkeys were female. At first glance, the performance looked like a creepy display of dominance. However, when bird experts viewed the tape, they came to a different conclusion. The fact that the birds were all female was a strong clue. Hens lack the formidable weight and leg spurs of males. When a predator bounds closer, females have two choices: run like crazy or flock together with the hope that another hen gets eaten. In this case, their curiosity got the better of the turkeys decided to eyeball the cat, but stayed true to their flock's defense. Walking around the dead animal, they could look without getting too close. However, people wanted to know why the birds kept circling. It must have clicked at one point that the dead feline was not dangerous. A turkey expert had the unflattering answer. Apparently, in this case, the instinct to follow another turkey was stronger than realizing it was time to go. But what do you make of this strange video clip? We'd love to hear your opinion in the comments. Moving on, we have an incredible piece of footage and evidence that nature is alive. This footage showed a forest in Quebec with densely packed trees and a carpet of moss. However, the carpet was moving. The rising and falling looked freakishly like the forest was breathing. One of the weirdest responses on Twitter said that the heaving was caused by a giant hidden turtle. There was no reptile or even an earthquake tremor. When weather experts were shown the footage, they failed to get excited. This was something that creeped out locals had already brought to their attention. The breathing was a result of natural forces, in particular wind and water. The phenomenon only happens when the soil is moist enough. Usually, after a storm drops a ton of water on the forest, the tree roots become saturated and disconnected from the earth. When the wind is powerful and persistent enough, the trees are forced to one side. This toppling causes their loosened root web to lift the forest floor. The largest snake ever. This is supposed to be the largest snake ever found. Meet Anna Julia, a snake that was more than 400 pounds heavy and over 26 feet long. This snake was so insane that even its DNA is 5% different than all other snakes. Scientists have reason to believe that Anna Julia is actually an all-new species of snake. And it was all possible after this recording went viral. But unfortunately, just a couple weeks after this recording was made famous, Anna Julia was found dead. While the exact reasons are not known, there are multiple claims that this majestic animal was killed by hunters. Now that is some bad news. Unfortunately, the discovery of this amazing creature led to its demise. Let's just hope that there are more of these amazing creatures in the world that don't meet such fate. Lightning versus a tree. You've heard the saying, lightning never strikes twice. All it needs to do is strike once, and it will cause untold damage. The video was recorded at Bryson Lake Large in Quebec, Canada, where guests had been advised to stay indoors due to an approaching storm. Someone set up a camera to record it passing over, but no one could have predicted what was about to happen next. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning strikes a pine tree in the court. Shards of wood and debris are sent flying, and the tree canopy collapses on top of one of the buildings and damages the roof. Luckily, no one was hurt, but things could have been very different had they not been hiding in the safety of their rooms. China destroying unfinished buildings. China is among the fastest developing countries in the world. The country has modernized in a span of a couple of decades. While billions of people have been lifted out of poverty, the country is facing economic stagnation, where the growth rate has slowly started to fall. Now, this has led to the country's many cities being abandoned, with no people wanting to buy real estate. Therefore, the country's government has undertaken a massive project to destroy such real estate that has now become worthless. Just take a look at this clip where construction workers are seen destroying an entire skyscraper and even a building complex. They have to be careful so as to not damage the buildings that are occupied by residents and businesses. You can expect such madness only in a country like China. Man destroys million-dollar bridge with just a kick. But sticking to China, next we have one of the wildest videos you've ever seen on the internet. Imagine you had immense strength, enough power to bring down entire buildings such as bridges. Well, an unidentified man in the Shanxi province in China managed to break an entire concrete column with a single kick. What's even stranger is that once the column came clean off and fell from the bridge, so did every other column. This mesmerizing and deplorable domino effect sent 215 columns into the river. Unfortunately, it is not evident if this vandal was arrested, so there's a chance this masked mischief maker is still at large and presumably kicking more columns. We're glad that everyone was fine, except for the construction company that probably got more than an earful. Horse walks into a bar. You've probably heard a dozen jokes about horses entering a bar. Well, this actually took place in real life, and fortunately, we have footage to prove it. The funny incident took place in France. The people inside of this sports betting bar, sadly, got too close to the action when a racehorse escaped from the famous Chantilly racecourse. The young racehorse bucked its rider off before entering the bar and got captured on their security cameras. It apparently darted towards the betting corner before rushing back, all the while kicking furniture and scaring the other customers. Luckily, the horse didn't hurt anyone and also didn't sustain any injuries. Makeup during an earthquake. Makeup tutorials have become among the most popular types of online content. And while you may think you've seen everything from these online videos, there's always a surprise waiting in store. This video by Ali J was recorded in July 2019. Unbeknownst to her, she happened to be filming live when one of the strongest earthquakes of the year struck. It begins like any other, and just as she begins to apply her lipstick, the room begins to violently shake. You can see the terror on her face as it dawns on her what's happening. Luckily, the tremor was over in a few seconds, and she was perfectly safe. The chance of this happening, though, is so remote that you would never have believed it if the camera had. Now, in many island countries of the Caribbean, low-flying planes are a common occurrence. After all, these island countries are only a few meters away and have airports right on the beach where tourists enjoy the water. However, you don't expect to see such a scene in the middle of the mainland United States. In 2019, residents of Nashville, Tennessee were stunned to see a military plane flying extremely close to the ground, so much so that it seemed to skim across the tops of buildings and pass by office windows. It kept circling multiple times over, and startled witnesses kept making calls to local authorities in panic. Later, it was transpired that this was all a training exercise in preparation for a flyover to celebrate the inauguration of the new governor. But with no prior warning and a seemingly reckless flight path, people were not happy. Still, it was incredible to see the precise control from the pilot, which shows how maneuverable these jets are. Unfortunately, in the end, the actual celebration flight was cancelled because of poor weather conditions, so the rehearsal and the fear it caused were all in vain. Bee collision. Now, we all know bees are social insects. They love working in groups and live their lives together with other bees. It is not surprising to see a huge bee swarm now and again. However, have you watched bees collide with one another? Sure, there have been reports, but we've never seen one on film. In this video clip, when a Redditor was making slow-motion footage of some bees, he somehow managed to capture an amazing shot of a bee collision. This is honestly amazing and terrifying at the same time. Kudos to the Redditor who managed to take the shot. Man survived shipwreck. Now, you might have heard about the story of a man who survived 3 days underwater thanks to a shipwreck. The story of this man is incredibly heartbreaking and impressive at the same time. Harrison Ojegboro-Kene recalls the time when divers were in the sea searching the shipwreck for survivors. He says he saw lights in the water. Air bubbles rose around the cook as he squatted in an air pocket. A diver was coming. Rescue seemed imminent, but all of a sudden, the lights disappeared. Desperate, O'Kene swam through pitch-dark waters in the sunken boat to grab the diver. O'Kene couldn't find him, and, with the air in his lungs giving out, he swam back to the cabin that held his precious but dwindling pocket of air. He was ultimately rescued and was the only survivor among the 12 crewmates on board the small vessel. A crowd saves a stuck train passenger. In this next heartwarming clip from Australia, commuters helped save a man who was stuck in between a train and the platform. The commuters at the station all lined up and saved the man by lining up and pushing the train, thus helping the man escape. The man apparently got stuck after he slept on the platform and his leg got wedged in between the train. The CCTV footage shows commuters rushing to the man's rescue, thus saving his life. Well, that's it for this video. What are your thoughts on the crazy footage captured and featured in today's video? Do let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.